Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about fats and oils. The good, the bad, these are the ones that you're going to want to throw in the trash. They're terrible. So back in 2017, when I went keto, that's when I learned the most about fats and oils, the differences between the two, the stuff that you would always want to use and the stuff that you never want to have in your home after this video. So I can thank Mark Sisson for this information. But fats and oils. When most people hear you say fats and oils, they think weight gain. And you would be correct if you were talking about these little culprits right here, vegetable and seed oils. So in order to get oil from vegetables or legumes, they must undergo processing, which means they are subjected to high temperatures. They use chemical solvents to extract the oil from the vegetable or the kernel or the grain. These are all made from soybean. I don't think any of us believe that soybeans are a high fat legume, because they're not. And so they undergo significant oxidative damage, and things get worse when you heat them up for cooking. So you saute stuff in a pan or use these for baking. They're exposed to light because they're always found in clear bottles, which you can see here. And just like this one, and I know they sell even bigger containers of this. I don't know why anyone would buy this. It's disgusting. They're exposed to oxygen, so as soon as you open this to pour it into your pan to use for baking, it's exposed to the oxygen. They're gross. And then as soon as they're heated up, they're even more damaged, and they inflict damage at the DNA level immediately upon ingesting. So as soon as you eat that French fry, as soon as you eat that cookie, as soon as you eat that Rice Krispie treat, because I guarantee all of this packaged stuff has soybean or some type of vegetable oil in it. These contribute to insulin resistance, so that's going to be type 2 diabetes by creating oxidative stress on the liver. They derail the body's immune system and metabolism. So if you're having issues losing weight, you should really look at what you're consuming, because this is literally in everything. It's in salad dressings, it's in sauces, it's in fake butter spreads, it's in all the packaged food that you consume. I'm very certain if you were to look at the ingredients on your packaged food or like any of the sauces you buy or dressings, there is going to be vegetable oil, soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, something is in there. And this stuff is not what you want to be consuming ever. Like, you want to get rid of this oil indefinitely out of your life as much as you can. And so when you consume these highly processed oils, they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids, which puts you at risk of inflammation. So omega-6 causes inflammation within the body. And when you have a severely unbalanced ratio of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3s are found in these good oils, it causes worse inflammation. And by ingesting these, you throw the balance off even more, meaning you're consuming much more omega-6s, because that's what are found in these wonderful vegetable oils. And these can put you at risk of obesity and other long-term medical issues. Like, this stuff is terrible. This is toxic. It is straight toxic. And so many of these oils are added to processed foods like I was talking about. So if you really should look at what's in your pantry, what's in your refrigerator, what's in your cupboards, because this stuff is literally in everything. It's so bad. And so most restaurants in this country and fast food joints use this. It's cheap. This is probably the number one oil you'll find in any restaurant or fast food because it is so cheap. So which stuff should you throw in the trash? These are the oils that I suggest getting rid of immediately as soon as you can. Toss them in the trash, and we'll get to replacing them with the good ones. But this is what you want to toss in the trash: soybean oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, which was used as engine lubricant before companies figured out how to sell it as cooking oil. It's disgusting. We shouldn't even be consuming that. It's for engines. Grapeseed oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, the fake butter spreads that everyone loves. I can't believe it's not butter. Well, I can. It's disgusting. And that's going to be Smart Balance spread and Promise. I can't believe it's not butter stuff. You do not want that. You want this stuff, the grass-fed butter. It's the best stuff in the world. Crisco, which I know so many people use for baking. You're never going to guess what this was used for. It was machine lubricant. Before it was used in food, so you should throw Crisco. If you have Crisco, toss that shit. It was used as machine lubricant before it was used in food. Why are we using stuff that's supposed to be lubricating machines and engines in our food? Like, no wonder why we're getting sick. This is oils that we should have never, ever, ever been consuming. And they're found in everything. It's really sad. So these oils do cause inflammation and weight gain. And they are the driver of many of the diseases that we have in the United States. So you're probably saying, well, what do I use since I'm throwing away all of these oils? You are gonna use this. And now that I have some recipes up, you probably get a feel for the kinds of fats and oils I use. You've seen ghee, butter, olive oil, coconut oil. I use a spray coconut oil too. It's literally just coconut oil. MCTs, which are the medium chain triglycerides found within coconut oil. It's the best stuff. This is why people love coconut oil so much, is because this is, as soon as you ingest MCTs, it is, once it hits your body, the liver then produces ketones, and that's a wonderful fuel for your brain, and it helps with burning fat without having to be on a ketogenic diet. So this is a wonderful little staple that I add to smoothies, protein shakes. You can add it to your yogurt. Really though, start with like probably a teaspoon or a half a tablespoon to start until you work up your tolerance, because it can cause a little bit of digestive issues. And lastly, avocado oil. This stuff is amazing, and I use these in all of my recipes, as I'm sure you've seen. So I want to make note for those that are like, oh, I don't want to eat this much oil or fats. That's fine. You really don't have to. And any of the recipes that I post, you can always like cut that fat in half or use just a tiny amount, but you do want to use some because there are fat soluble vitamins. So meaning foods that you eat, especially salads, keep this in mind for salads. You should really use, the only thing you should be using on salads as far as like an oil goes is this good stuff right here. This is liquid gold in a bottle. I love it so much. It's amazing. It's so good for your brain. But my point is that there are a lot of fat soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, D, E, and K. And if you're not consuming the vegetables, especially, or meats or whatever, if your food doesn't have some kind of high quality oil, which is all of these like right here, you're not going to be able to absorb these fat soluble vitamins because they actually need fat to be absorbed into the body. So essentially, like if you're having a dry salad or just putting some vinegar on it, or like using a low fat dressing that you found in the store, which I'm sure is probably containing some kind of vegetable oil, you're not going, first of all, this is gross, don't eat that. But you're not gonna be able to absorb the vitamins. So you're basically gonna ingest it and then defecate or urinate them out, and you're not gonna receive any of those health benefits. So it's really important that you use, honestly, a high quality, get yourself a very high quality olive oil for your salads at least. So eating these good fats though, will not make you fat. It's gonna help regulate your appetite. So meaning that you're gonna feel satiation, you're gonna feel full, you're going to feel like when you're eating the meal, you feel a sense of fullness. So you don't need to eat as much food, and you feel that full sensation a little sooner than you would with these, because these do not provide you any satiation whatsoever. They optimize hormone function. So for many people, I don't think you realize, but testosterone is crucial for both men and women to build and maintain muscle, have a healthy libido, have healthy sexual function, and good mental health. You need to eat saturated fats in order for your body to produce testosterone, as well as cholesterol. So egg yolks are not bad, especially from pasture-raised eggs. These all help with testosterone production. And so you want to have healthy levels, especially in men, as that seems to be very low. So men, avoid soybean like a plague. And so all of these are made with soybean oil. Do not, this is why another reason why you need to throw those in the trash. Do not use them ever again. And I know I just talked about the extra virgin olive oil. I love it so much. If you're gonna purchase it, you're gonna look for a dark glass bottle. If it's sold in plastic, do not buy it. That's trash. Move on to another option. It should have a harvest date when the olives were picked. And this one does here, it's kind of stamped on the bottom. You kind of have to look for it on some of the bottles, but this one says the harvest date was October, November of 2021. So it was of last year at this time. And the best buy date is April 15th of 2024. This will be gone within a month or less. Make sure that the oil has been filtered, as there could be oil remnants left, and that helps if it's filtered to slow the oxidation process, as it will oxidize. It's an organic matter. Purchase small bottles, something that you use in a month or two. Like I said, this will be gone probably in like about 2-3 weeks. It's amazing stuff. Olive oil is not like wine, guys. It does not get better with age, it gets worse. So this is why you purchase in small bottles and use as quickly as possible. Once the bottle is open and exposed to oxygen, the degradation process begins. So this is why you want to open it and use it as much and as frequently as possible. And this is best for low to medium temperatures, so between 375 and 400 degrees. I love it. Honestly, I use this more as like a dressing and for sauteing than anything else. It's so good. Next would be the avocado oil. So I know this has come under a little bit of scrutiny lately, as there have been claims that olive oils are cutting them with seed oils. So they're trying to make a profit and they're cutting it with this shit. So do your research, as many companies are trying to do that. I recommend Primal Kitchen brand or the Chosen Foods, which I have here. These have a high smoke point of 520 degrees. So this stuff I use more for frying, and you really could do either olive oil or the avocado oil, but I generally like this. And I believe that, yes, it's up to 500 degrees. It says it on the bottle. So this one's good for frying stuff, and it's just a high quality oil. Next up is the grass-fed butter and the ghee. They're both grass-fed. This is just clarified butter. That's all ghee is. And on here it labels that it is grass-fed. It's non-GMO. It's certified paleo and keto friendly. This stuff is amazing. Get yourself a jar of the ghee if you can. And the next thing I want to talk about, because I think it should be stated, the grass-fed versus feedlot. So all the butter and the ghee here are grass-fed. And so I don't know if many people know the difference between or what goes on in a feedlot, but if you're buying just like conventional butter or dairy or meat, it's going to be from a feedlot animal, and it's very inhumane. So when you think about all those PETA videos, that's what these feedlots are. So when you buy and when you purchase anything that's not grass-fed or pasture raised, you're basically contributing to this treatment of animals. They're confined to feedlots, so they're restricted, so they cannot move, and that's so this way they're not using up their energy and they fatten up quicker. They're mostly fed 90% corn and 10% foraging, but even still, I think the majority of these feedlot animals' diets, they're fed cheap energy, including candies, starch, bakery waste, potato waste, pasta, chicken litter, so that's chicken poop, meat processing waste, so anything left over after they're done butchering the animal. So is that forced cannibalism? Perhaps. It's disgusting. They're also pumped full of hormones and antibiotics. So back in 2013, 40 million pounds of antibiotics were used on livestock to treat illness and to promote growth. They're injected full of hormones used to increase growth rate by 10 to 15%. Normally, cows take a year to fully mature, but the combination of high energy food, drugs, and confinement turns cows into cheap meat in half the time. So they're just like literally pumping the cows to pump them out to get them to the market. So keep in mind, whatever your food eats or is injected with or consumes, you ultimately eat that. So just keep that in mind. And a lot of this stuff is stored in the fat of these animals. And these animals, the feedlot animals, have a high imbalance of omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids. We talked about this earlier. The omega-6 cause inflammation. A ratio that exceeds 20-1, meaning there's 20 fatty acids to 1 omega-3. And omega-3s help to calm inflammation in the body, while omega-6 drives inflammation. And so eating these conventionally raised meats will drive inflammation in your body. Now the flip side of that is grass-fed. And I know you hear me talking about grass-fed, you've seen it in all my posts, but there's a reason that I am a strong advocate of grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild-caught animals. And in this case, beef we're talking about, so grass-fed beef. They get to roam on a pasture and eat their natural diet of grasses. They have 4 stomachs for a reason, and that's to digest grass and grasses only. There are no antibiotics or hormones ever used in the raising of true grass-fed beef. Cattle are naturally allowed to grow and reach full maturity between 1.5 to 2.5 years. So that's how long it takes a cow to actually fully mature. When they're compared to feedlot, which is 15 to 17 months, so it's like a year and 3 months, a year and 5 months, it's disgusting and it's really inhumane. So grass-fed meat contains 5 times more omega-3 fatty acids, and it helps to combat inflammation. So by eating grass-fed meats, you're actually helping your body reduce inflammation. It's fascinating. Let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. I swear it is so true. You can heal yourself with just good quality food. Trader Joe's brand for butter is 100% grass-fed. Costco brand butter, which I don't have here, is 95% grass-fed, and Kerrygold is 80% grass-fed. I know if you have been paying attention to just any of my posts, they did get into some legal trouble a few years back because of the misrepresentation of information on their butter labels, but this label does not say 100% grass-fed. So it turns out that it says Irish grass-fed cows, but it doesn't say the percentage, so they aren't falsely advertising because they are generally still grass-fed. But if you can get the higher grass-fed percentages, that's probably best. I know this ghee is 100% grass-fed, so this is awesome. Grass-fed butter is full of vitamin A. It's full of vitamin K2, which is a hard to come by nutrient that helps deposit calcium in places like you want it, in your bones, in your teeth, keeps it out of arteries and your kidneys. So K2 is a wonderful vitamin. And it is also full of conjunculated linoleic acid, CLA. It's a family of at least 28 isomers of linoleic acid found mostly in meat and dairy products derived from ruminants, which means these are animals that have even-toed, undulated mammals that chew the cud, regurgitating its ruminant. Meaning these are animals like cattle, sheep, antelope, deer, giraffe, and their relatives, so cows. In this place, we're talking about cows. This is also found, the CLA is found in free-range eggs, grass-fed meat, grass-fed milk, and raw milk especially. If you can get your hands on raw milk or know of a farm nearby, get it. It's so good. Free-range chicken, grass-fed butter, which is right here. And the benefits of this compound, CLA, they help reduce body fat. They are a non-stimulant fat burner. They have anti-cancer and anti-diabetic properties, helps regulate blood sugar levels, improves insulin function for weight loss, provides satiety and improves digestion, increases your metabolic rate, enhances muscle growth, so more muscle on your body, increases your resting metabolic rate, as well as just lifting weights. And it has heart disease prevention. It reverses atherosclerosis, which is the buildup of fats and cholesterol and other substances in and on the artery walls. This is due to overconsumption of carbohydrates and sugars, not these good fats. And so in some of my recipes, you've seen me use the ghee, and that's just clarified butter like I stated before. For people who are lactose intolerant, this is probably the butter that you want to use, as it's heated and then the milk solids are removed and you're just left with this fat. It is 100% grass-fed, especially from the Fourth and Heart brand, which I have here, and it has a high smoke point at 450 degrees. Next up is the coconut oil, which is basically, it's essentially these two right here. So baking is pretty much what I use the coconut oil for, and the unsalted butter, unsalted grass-fed butter. This stuff is great for baking. It's MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, support brain energy metabolism. MCTs are converted to ketones by the liver, which is a favored fuel source by the brain, which I did mention earlier. This actually can help with those with brain and neurological issues. Even in Alzheimer's patients, they've seen an improvement in brain function when they administer this. I think it's like up to maybe 4 tablespoons a day. I was reading this in Max Lugavere's book, Genius Life. They were talking about this, or Genius Life, Genius Foods. Both books, all 3 of his books are amazing, but they were talking about that, which is fascinating. So if you know someone who's having brain issues, Maybe you suggest adding a little bit of MCT oil to smoothies or any food. You can cook with this too if you need to. This is good for low to medium heat, so up to 350 degrees. There's a cute little anecdotal story that I found that I ran into, and it's why coconut oil is bad for pigs. It turns out that there was back in the, let's see, I'll link this in the video, but in 1945, World War II, when U.S. pig farmers tried to use coconut oil to fatten up their livestock, their fat, they were met with horrifying results. Rather than fattening up the animals, the coconut oil had in fact made pigs leaner thanks to the pro-thyroid properties in the oil. So this stuff, this will make you lose weight. If you use coconut oil, swap out coconut oil and use MCT oil in everything that you're cooking with, this stuff will make you lose weight. This is an amazing study. You should read this story yourself. But farmers were furious, and despondent U.S. planters returned to the Philippines to inform the locals that they no longer required vast amounts of coconut oil. It was determined that coconut oil wasn't fit to give American pigs, as it was too difficult to fatten the pigs with the oil. So this oil actually makes people, it does make people lose weight. Pigs too, but everyone that consumes coconut oil, you'll lose weight. Luckily, a decision was taken soon afterwards to feed U.S. pigs something more beneficial, namely chemical toxins, which help to suppress the animal's thyroid function rather than stimulate it, as it had the coconut oil. So suppressing the thyroid function and the animal's ability to metabolize food is drastically slowed down. Hence, the animals will gain weight. And this is exactly what will happen when you consume this oil. This isn't everything. Please get rid of it as soon as possible. Once it was discovered that such chemicals were carcinogenic, the animal's feed was switched over to corn and soybeans, which is now found in everything. And it had the same anti-thyroid properties, which this will make your thyroid, you will not be able to metabolize food, you will gain weight. So since then, there have been debates about the quality of feed given to American pigs and the effects such anti-thyroid feed had on pork consumers. So just keep in mind, same thing. Whatever your animals are eating, whatever the food that you're consuming, whatever that ate, you're consuming. So when you buy meat next time, you might want to take a peek at the grass-fed free-range meats. So coconut oil is, this stuff right here is fantastic. There are 2 podcasts that if you want more information on, I recommend you tune into. Paul Saladino, MD, his podcast, Fundamental Health, number 180, episode 180, How to Lose Weight. That one goes into the good and the bad oils, and he takes a deeper dive into it. He's a doctor. He is wonderful. The other podcast I would tune into is Max Lugavere's. This one I think just posted yesterday. His podcast is called The Genius Life, and you'll see it says seed oils. They talk about vegetable oils. So I would tune into both of those. So I hope this has been a little eye-opening. I hope you've learned something from this. I'm going to be doing more of these videos, the good, the bad, and the trash. It's possible that I'll do a salt or sugar or refined grains soon, but I hope that you learned something. Thanks. Bye.